The hardest thing to do is lead yourself. Once you learn how to lead yourself, then you can take steps forward to build that vision that God gave you, or that vision that you guys came up together.
Mostly everything we learn right now, or how we operate, was because of what we learned from 0 to 7 years old, because that was programmed into us to understand, like, this is what it's going to be unless you change it yourself.
You can't avoid pain, bro. You just simply can't. You can't succeed unless you fail. They're two sides of the same coin.
Welcome to another episode of the Profitable Path podcast. I am your host, Marco Cabrera, and today we have special guests Olivia and Armand, two incredible individuals who made a significant impact as speakers, owner-operators, and real estate investors. They are the minds behind the series called Aligned, where they bring people together to network and share investing strategies and embark on a journey of self-discovery. Join us as we uncover the stories and strategies behind Olivia and Armand's remarkable accomplishments. Welcome, guys.
Thank you. That was a beautiful introduction.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are awesome. So I just had to make sure we had an intro to match, right?
Yeah, appreciate
nice.
that.
So we're just gonna get right into it, guys.
Yeah.
What was your life before real estate?
Wow. So I'll go first. I mean, that's a loaded question when I actually think about it.
Yeah.
Life before real estate was a lot of stress, honestly. Why? Because I was a W-2 employee working as a nurse in the ICU.
Okay.
That was a lot of stress on my body, on my mental health, and what I see on the daily.
Yeah.
So I did that for about 10 years. 10 years of, I'm an adrenaline junkie, by the way. So I like to see the worst patients, quote unquote, worst patients, meaning those who need my help.
Okay.
Those who need, I don't want to get too graphic here, but you know, the gunshots or the people that are struggling, found on the ground with impaled, you know, many things that they need my help with.
Wow.
But the main purpose of this is I understood throughout the years that I wanted to be in the service of giving.
Yeah.
You know, this is something that was very powerful for me to give my time and to serve. Before real estate, doing that for 10 years, I gave my physical body and also my mental health. And after a certain time, I looked to my right, I looked to my left, and I said, you know, there are people, other nurses here working who have been working for about 30 years.
Yeah.
And I said, is there a way for me to stop doing this? Because it's taking too much of my life right now.
Okay.
And I reached kind of a point of breaking after 10 years. And I said, is there a point where I might be able to step away from this? And what does that look like? And that essentially led me into real estate.
Wow.
And I haven't turned back since.
Nice.
I mean, I've been retired for the past year and a half. And I'm happier than ever. I love the nurses. I love healthcare.
Of course.
But, you know, I see tremendous value also helping others in real estate and securing their home and essentially providing for our family. This is my beautiful wife, Olivia. Providing for our family.
Yeah.
First, take care of ourselves first. You know, put the mask on ourselves first.
Yeah.
Referencing an airplane, put on the mask yourself first, and then you can help others.
Yeah.
So I'm true into believing into making yourself better first, and then you're able to basically compound that with other people and give to them.
That's awesome, man.
Appreciate
it. So, Olivia,
man.
what was your life like before real estate?
Yeah, so a little more cushy than that. I was a professional.
You weren't like saving people from gun wounds and stuff like that?
No, I was raising kids.
Okay.
I was a professional nanny. So
Wow.
I was a nanny with two families from 2010 to 2016.
Okay.
So two different families I worked with. I mean, the families I worked with, the kids from my wedding.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they're really like family. So I did that. While I was a nanny, I said, okay, you know, like, I've always been entrepreneurial. I've always wanted to do other things.
Yeah.
So I said, let me get my real estate license.
Yeah.
Like, how hard can it be? You sell houses. Like, what a joke.
Yeah.
So I got my real estate license while I was a nanny, and I transitioned part-time to become an agent. And I so quickly realized, well, you know, I don't really like selling crown molding and holding your hand. Like, this is not my speed. It's not my personality. It's not for me.
Yeah.
So that's when I started to learn about investing. I actually, someone contacted me. I don't know what it was for. It was some skincare. I'm going to say pyramid scheme, relax people. You know, one of those multi-level marketing things.
Yeah.
And I met with these two women, and they're like, oh, yeah, this and that. They're telling me all about it. and you build a team, right? And then you build passive income.
Okay.
And I was like, I never heard of this. And she's like, oh, if everyone knew what passive income was, they'd walk through a brick wall to get it, she told me. And I said, okay, sounds good. So I knew it wasn't for me. I knew it was one of those multi-level things. It's not my personality. So I went home and I Googled passive marketing, passive income. And I'm like, what's passive income? And real estate came up and owning rentals came up. And I said, oh, that's me.
Nice.
Like that feels good. I like this.
Wow.
So then I started to learn about, I found Grant Cardone and all these other people. So as I transitioned from being a nanny to full-time real estate as an agent, I quickly just got into the investing side. Wow. So short sales, wholesales, and I was like, oh, this is my speed. Like the end goal is to own rentals and own real estate. Yeah. And haven't turned back since.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you guys started your real estate journey separately, right?
Yes.
Yes. Now, did you meet in real estate?
So we met in 2019, right?
You want to know where we met?
Yeah.
Where did we meet?
We should get paid for this. It was Hinge, okay?
Hinge.
If you want to reach out.
Hinge is an app, right?
Yes.
It's an app.
Okay.
I need
See,
to tell
I'm married for it, so I don't know any of this.
I need to tell you this crazy story. I'll take a quick minute.
No, take your time.
Hinge.
Yeah.
I wasn't into all the dating apps. I didn't believe in it. I thought sorry. But I thought like losers were part of Bumble, Hinge. You know, I had no clue about what that even meant. Mm-hmm. So I mentioned I was an ICU nurse. After being an ICU nurse, I was actually the stroke program coordinator in Hoboken. So I've dealt with I had to lead a lot of doctors, a lot of nurses. And what happened was we had a very good meeting. And after the meeting, off the record, I know everyone in that meeting personally, but I never asked a question. I said, Where did you guys all meet your significant others? You guys are all successful. You guys all have kids. Yeah. They're about the same age as me. I'm 39.
Okay.
And they all said we met from an online dating app.
Get out of here.
I said all of them. Every single one of them. I was the only single one there.
What?
And I said, get out of here. Online dating app. I would never. And they said, you got to open up your mind. And I said, I don't know about this. And what I did was I downloaded Hinge that same night. And after a couple of days, she was actually my first date.
Really?
She was my only date.
Wow. I don't know.
She was my only
date. Hinge to call for a check.
Seriously.
With this episode.
Hinge success story.
And we just hit it off. And it's amazing what just one quick decision can change the trajectory of their life. That's one little decision, quote unquote little decision, but to open up my mind and say, okay, I am open to this concept. Yeah. And look, I found my wife on the first date. Wow. We went to this restaurant. We had a date for 8 hours. Our next couple of dates were 8 hours each. Closed down the restaurant.
8 hours.
8 hours.
8 hour dinner.
8 hours.
8 hour dinner. And we actually closed the restaurant and we spoke in the parking lot for another 2 hours.
Now, was it like a buffet where you keep eating for 8 hours? Or?
Can you imagine all you could eat?
Oh my gosh. We barely even ate. It's crazy. Yeah. The amount of energy and electricity when I met her was off the charts. Wow. And fully blessed to even have that experience. And here we are a few years later.
That's awesome, man. And, I was super excited to have you guys on because I think in today's society, marriage is kind of frowned upon. A lot of people live this single life and live in a certain way that doesn't honor God or honor themselves. Mm-hmm. And seeing you two meeting each other on a dating app, spending time and building this wealth machine, for your future, I think it's motivating for people out there, for single people and people that are married. You could be successful in a marriage. You're a happy man, you're a happy woman, and this is powerful right here. Yeah. And that's why I was super excited to show this to our listeners. You know what I mean? Yeah. So what are the challenges that you guys faced early on in real estate?
Early on in real estate, I would say, well, we met in 2019 and I was already into wholesaling and he was into just traditionally buying properties. So that conventional 15% down, 20% down, like your retail buyer. Yeah. And I was like, wait a minute, dude, nah. Yeah,
it's funny because when I started wholesaling, Olivia was my first agent. Because early on, my mentors showed me how to do, they call it novation now, but you get permission from the seller to actually list the property. So I would blast it off to my buyer's list. If I didn't get any bites, I would then list it on the MLS, and Olivia was my agent.
Yeah.
And we did a lot of deals way before anybody was doing novation is what we did.
Yes.
And we were crushing it.
Yeah.
This was what, 2017, 18?
Yeah. And now I know novation's getting more notoriety. Popular. It's always been around. But yeah. So anyway, early challenges I would say were, for me, I was almost like a deal killer. I was so conservative,
Okay.
so risk averse. I'm like, no. If it's not a $80,000 spread, it's a horrible deal. We can't do it.
On wholesaling.
On wholesaling.
Wow.
That's
Crazy.
a little exaggerated.
Yeah.
But
She's
I
still a
really
little
was
like
so.
that right now. So.
Yeah, I'm still like that a little bit. You know, if we can't get this, the maximum discount to buy, we gotta wholesale it. We can't.
Yeah.
We need it at like the lowest possible price. So I
Yeah.
think being too conservative,
Okay.
which ultimately, we passed on a lot of deals we could have actually bought,
Yeah.
buy and hold, that we just wholesaled off.
Yeah.
Because I was so conservative and risk averse and scared, right? Like
Yeah.
fear was really driving that to
Okay.
be so just like, you got to make the biggest spreads and the home runs and
Mhm.
all those little hits do
Yeah.
add up. Every hit
Absolutely.
can't be a slam dunk home run, you know?
Yeah.
So I would say that was probably the biggest mistake or challenge,
Yeah.
just getting more comfortable with being more risk on.
Yeah, and that's interesting because wholesaling is a numbers game, right? It's more
Yeah.
about the numbers that you're putting up. Of course, you want to hit those 50,000, 58. The
Mhm.
biggest wholesale fee that I ever did was 58,000,
Mm-hmm.
and that was great. But reality is that most of the deals aren't like that. Our
Yes.
average is between it's about 13.5 now
Yeah.
per deal. You know, sometimes we get the 75, 10,000, and
Yeah.
then we get. But overall average is
Yeah.
around that number.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same. So
Yeah.
especially now in this kind of climate, the spreads aren't, 2020 spreads or 2018 spreads for wholesales.
Yeah, the
Gotcha.
So
spreads.
they're smaller.
Yeah.
They're still good, right?
Still
but it
good,
is
yeah.
just a numbers game
Yeah,
overall.
consistent marketing because wholesaling is more like your marketing company, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
And then you're
exactly.
connecting sellers to the buyers. So it's just
Yeah.
focusing on marketing, bring it into numbers, creating that machine and system that delivers.
Yeah.
So what was your challenges that you faced? Because you both got into real estate separately, right?
We were both separately. I was on the wholesale investing and he
And
was
you
on
were-
the buy and hold.
So I was on the buy and hold.
Got it.
retail buyer side.
I mean, I can.
Wow, this is awesome. The wholesale and buy and hold together. You guys are freaking.
I
You know,
know
crush
it's
We
it's
try.
amazing. I mean, in the very beginning, if you want to know the genesis story of how I got into real estate investing, it's actually a little crazy because sorry if my old landlord is watching, but we had a this is before Olivia. We had me and my buddies, my close buddies, had a bachelor pad
Okay.
that was a 2-family in Roselle Park,
Mhm.
and we were renting out by the room, and I was writing a check every month to my landlord, who I didn't like. I didn't vibe with because he always just had a nasty attitude for no
Okay.
reason.
So
Like, he was
crappy
just
landlord.
he was an angry man.
Yeah.
You know, and
They're
he
called
was younger.
slumlords.
Slumlord.
He was
Yeah,
essentially
there
a
it is. I was
slumlord.
looking for the
Yeah,
word.
yeah. He was complaining about literally everything, to the point where he's like blaming us for pouring down black beans into the toilet bowl and clogging up his system. And we're like, we never ate black beans. Like, why are you putting
Who
this?
flushes
Why are
beans?
we trying to pay for this? You know, it's crazy. So that was a 2-family, and I realized the challenge there was not only my landlord, but the challenge was like I was paying rent and I didn't like it. You know, I decided I didn't like that, and I asked my buddies. I said, I know nothing about real estate, but I can learn. And if I could get a 2-family, same exact place like this, where I could have multiple rooms upstairs, 3 rooms upstairs, I rent that by the room, you guys pay me, and I get a tenant downstairs. Are you okay with that? And they jumped for joy. They're like, hell yeah, we'd rather pay you than pay this landlord. So I decided to do that. I had some challenges with the tenant downstairs in terms of it was like baptism by fire, essentially. You know, like I had to learn landlording from the ground up. So you know, the barrier of entry is like bigger pockets and YouTube and and you know your car is your YouTube university.
Yeah.
So I decided that's what I wanted to do. Why? Because I saw what the spread was. And what I was taking home on top of my nursing job, what I was taking home was $1,500 net per month. This was after everything was paid.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. And I was obviously living for free. So essentially a house hack.
Yeah.
And I decided from there, you know, real estate is definitely the place where I want to go. No matter how hard it is to understand what it takes to be successful in it. Nothing in life is going to be easy if you really want the success in it, right? Like nothing in life, it can be easy. Yes, you can learn, you could strategize, you can be a little more risk averse. However, you also have to understand there's a certain point where you have to take the leap, and it's never going to be perfect. You know, you know, well done is better than what's the saying? Well done is better than well said.
Yeah.
So you want to just continue doing it, and you create the product. You create the product in your mind.
Yeah.
You do this. proof of concept, and then you polish it afterwards.
Yeah,
that's how you get better.
If you're looking to dive into the world of real estate, we have the perfect tools and resources just for you. Our carefully selected top secret document library is packed with proven documents to streamline your transactions and help you navigate the real estate market with confidence. Additionally, we offer a comprehensive wholesale 101 masterclass designed specifically for beginners. In this course, you'll learn everything you need to know about finding affordable properties, negotiating lucrative deals, and building a network of eager buyers. We're here to empower you with the knowledge and skills necessary to flourish in the real estate industry. But that's not all. The Real Estate Investor's Secret Vault is your gateway to unlimited success. Our marketing matrix and calculators will assist you in making informed decisions, ensuring maximum profits effortlessly. So don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to kickstart your real estate journey. Join us today and unlock the secrets that will propel your real estate career to new heights. Log on to investorsvault.club and get started now. Now let's get back to our program. You saw an opportunity and you took action on the opportunity. And that's what a lot of people don't do nowadays, which is why we have this podcast, right? To spark a fire in people's, there might be a nurse listening to this and she's or he's working in this place where they want to start building wealth. They just don't know how. And listen to your story, your testimony, and yours as well, and understand that there's a possibility. None of us here are special, right? And that's what I want the listeners to understand. We just take action. We have the cojones. The bobbles.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Good. It's all in the mind. Honestly, what I say to others too is your body is your hardware, your mind is your software.
Yeah.
Right? So your body is your hardware, your mind is your software. Anything you could think of, anything you ever dreamed of is the software. But it's like, how do I get the correct programming into my mind if I don't know it myself?
Yeah.
You have to lean on others that have done it successfully.
Absolutely.
Or you learn.
Yeah.
There's no other way. You can read all the books, but if you don't take any action on it, you're just going to be smarter with knowing everything in these 100 books and podcasts.
Yeah.
But the main thing is if you just stick to like one book and one concept, that's the main thing. Take the action on that one thing first and then learn from there.
Absolutely. People get a lot of analysis paralysis.
Yes.
So, all right. So you guys are both into real estate. You have your stories. You meet on Hinge, right? What made you want to get into business together? Like, did it start while you were dating or was something later on? Like, how did that work out?
Yeah. So I think on our first couple dates, when we first met our first couple dates, we talked a lot. I'm a talker. I'm a big talker. So we talked a lot about values, like a lot of the core stuff. What kind of life do you want to live? What are your values? What are your beliefs? And for me, being self-employed, work and it's a different way of living, I think, when you're self-employed and you have to really create your life and create your schedule.
Yeah.
So we talked about what kind of life we wanted to live, and it was really aligned. Pun intended, aligned. It was really aligned, although he was a W-2 worker at the time. He really had those 9 to 5 hours.
Yeah.
So once we started dating, we were serious about what we wanted. We both were looking, to meet someone, to get married, build a life, have a family. So since we were so aligned on so many foundational things, I would say 6 months into dating, he saw what I was doing. He was learning about it. I was telling him about it. And that's when he was like, okay, so I'm still at my 9 to 5, but I'll just use his cash to put the money in. And I'm running the business and he's doing it all in his off hours.
Yeah.
And the whole intent was for him to ultimately retire. So we're in this business together. Obviously, he's at his 9 to 5, but after work, pretty much on weekends, all the time he's working on it. We have our designated roles, right? I'd say I'm more acquisitions and day to day. He's finance. What's it called? You have an integrator and a what?
And a visionary and an integrator.
Okay, he's the integrator.
You're the visionary.
And I'd say we're kind of both visionary, but I'm the operator,
Got
right? And the whole goal is to be wholesaling, the ultimate goal is to be buying. We're always thinking buy first.
Awesome.
Then wholesale, and the whole goal is for him to ultimately retire from his job.
Yeah.
So we can go full, he could be full-time and we could just maximize even bigger that way. So it was pretty early on, I think, because we had similar values and beliefs.
Okay.
And the kind of life we both wanted to live, that it just flowed. It was just an organic kind of evolution of let's do this.
Wow, that's awesome. Because a lot of people, don't like working with their spouses. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So you guys early on were dating, not even married yet, but you understood that you guys were aligned in vision, and
Mhm.
you both had an end goal in mind, and
Yes.
both played a part in that.
Yeah, we
Right.
both had and we still do. We have specific designated roles. Certain
Yeah.
things I don't touch, I don't even know about, I don't care about, I don't
Yeah.
want to know, and vice versa.
Okay.
So, yeah, it works. I mean,
Wow.
it's not easy.
No, never
It
is.
is. It is no
No,
walk
it
in
is
the park.
not, but it's a beautiful thing.
It takes a lot of work.
It's a dance. I want to say that. It's a dance.
Yeah.
It's
for sure.
it's an integrated dance. That's no pun intended, but
Yeah.
it's something where if you can find someone who is aligned with your vision and goals,
Mhm.
that's more than half the battle. Why? Because your spouse is honestly one of the best investments you can make
Absolutely.
in your life.
Yeah.
Like that is truly who might push you at the lowest times,
Mhm.
who might pick you up, who might cheer you on.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's ultimately up to yourself and God. However, I think what she brings to the table was the vision of there is something more. You know, there is something more than what I was doing and what I thought that I should be doing for the next 10, 20, 30 years. I
Yeah.
had no other out besides let me try to buy a house every year.
Mhm.
Use my, it's easier to get a mortgage when you're a W-2 employee.
Absolutely. Yeah. Once you're not, those loans
Once
are
you're
harder.
not, it's a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
I
Have
tell everybody when they want to go full time, I'm like, why don't you work on getting some loans first? And then,
yeah,
it's going to be a
Yeah.
little harder.
On
Yeah.
a side note, yeah, and I always say on a side note, like especially with my colleagues and coworkers, I say a lot of them are very happy with their high credit score.
Yeah.
Like 800. I got 800, 810, 820, 830. I'm like, what are you doing?
What are you doing
What are you doing
with
with
it?
it? Like, it's not there to show off.
No.
Like, you want to hit that.
Yeah.
You want to make sure, like, all right, I can hit those high scores because I'm going to get an asset. And yeah, it'll bump down to maybe 750, but then
Yeah.
in a couple months, it'll go back up. And you
Yeah.
want to make sure you leverage that
Mm.
smartly, you
Yeah.
know? So I always preach that. But
Yeah.
I digress.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So what strategies have you found to be the most effective in building wealth through your real estate investments?
Yeah. So I guess you can chime in here, but the best strategy is our cold calling. So we
That's
have
your main, what
That's
you do for
our
marketing?
main form
Yes.
of marketing. Yeah. So
Yes.
VAs, he's Filipino, so
So you got your
the
cousins?
the
You got
fellow-
your
my cousins. They vibe with me. They vibe with me.
love
They
me.
love me. It's
fellow,
amazing.
fellow Filipinos. We have VAs that do
Uh-huh.
the cold calling. That's
Yeah.
our main level of marketing,
Mhm.
and it's been pretty tried and true. Texting here and there. I don't love texting.
Yeah.
But we're feeling now other forms of marketing are obviously becoming necessary
Mhm.
with how many people are on federal do not call list or the do not call list.
Yeah.
But it depends on where you are. Like Jersey, there's a high level of people on the do not call
Yeah.
versus Pennsylvania or
Okay.
Ohio,
Yeah.
So, but our main form is cold calling and door knocking now.
Door knocking,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, a door
Now,
knocking.
do you guys
team.
do it yourself or you have a team that go out there?
No, we have a team that goes out. They know their script, they know the whole system, and they're door knocking, which is
Nice.
really cool.
And we're building out as well. So if any door knockers are watching this, we're
Any
always
door
any people interested in door knocking and
Yeah.
learning the game. It's tremendous. Especially you learn that knowledge of how to speak to people,
Yeah.
and that's very powerful, especially in this day and age. So
Yeah, absolutely. I always, I recommend new investors start cold calling. Get those no's, get abuse,
Mhm.
get it out of the
Mhm.
way, get repetition, know what to say, start speaking the language.
Yeah.
Door knock, meet people, shake hands.
Yeah.
Especially start going to network events.
yes.
Yeah.
We just started one monthly. You guys do one as well. It's so
Yes.
important for
Beautiful.
people new investors, even seasoned investors. Go shake hands. You'll never know how many opportunities are there. You know what I mean? So as far as so you guys you do your own acquisitions. Do you have any sales reps other than the door knockers, or like who's taking
No.
the calls? Once you
No,
get a
so
lead.
we have VAs that I have certain
Okay.
VAs for acquisitions and me. So
Gotcha.
we're like me and my fellow Filipino
Fellow
are the
cousins.
main ones that do acquisitions.
Okay.
Yeah, and take on and get those deals under contract.
All right. Now who does the disposition side? For
Disposition
your
would
wholesale?
mostly be
So
him,
that would
in
be me,
addition
yeah.
with
Okay.
other VAs that are designated for those roles.
Nice, awesome.
Yeah.
So all right. So in the beginning, you guys started right. You started.
Yeah.
You both had the vision. You were still working W-2. Are you still working W-2?
No, man.
Wow. So you retired.
So I'm happily retired.
Awesome.
Retired a year and a half ago.
Okay.
It's been a tremendous journey. Obviously, from going from W-2 to entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
I came from a background where nobody is an entrepreneur, or was an entrepreneur, or was in real estate, know nothing about real estate, didn't have any assets, don't know about the stock market or any ways of growing their money to compound it for generational wealth or even wealth during their own generation.
Yeah.
So that was a big barrier of entry, you know, to kind of jump into like, okay, I'm here myself. And
How
obviously,
did you explain it to your family? Why,
oh
were
my
they
goodness.
like, oh, you're going to ruin your life? Who is this Olivia chick?
They blame it all on her. No, I'm kidding. So it's funny because my parents were immigrants from the Philippines.
Okay.
And what they knew was the American dream.
Yeah.
They both came from a family that literally had nothing. My dad was sharing, it's crazy. My dad was sharing ice cream. They get ice cream once a month, and he was sharing a cone of ice cream, this small, a cone of ice cream with his, I think it was like 6 siblings.
Wow.
So that was their treat, to share this ice cream. Wow. They had to go miles to get water filled with snakes and sand and drink it. And I think they had that American dream to come here and try to create something. They're both nurses. My whole family is nurses, actually. Okay. And when they heard that I was going to quit nursing, they thought like, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
So I was making 6 figures.
Yeah.
And you know, the highest paid out of my family, I guess you can say. So they were very proud.
Yeah, of course.
I had a different vision. You know, I dreamed a little bit bigger. I know that was their dream, to come here and provide for us, keep us safe, give us shelter. But as you know, like, each generation should get better than the previous one.
Absolutely.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
And you also want to provide for the future generations. So they weren't too happy with it. You know, they weren't too happy with it, but I can't put all of that pressure on myself to try to appease them.
Yeah.
You know, I created my own story, and I'm going to live or die by it.
Yeah.
And the worst that could happen is, I tell others, the worst that can possibly happen is if you fail at being an entrepreneur, you can go back to what you were doing.
Yeah,
I still have the degree.
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, the American dream doesn't change.
You can keep it active, right? Exactly.
Go to school, get licensed. You can do anything.
Exactly.
You know?
So the worst that could happen is to go living the life you've been living for the past 10 years. That's the worst that can happen.
Yeah.
If you fall flat on your face, or if you fail forward, I mean, so be it. You learn from that lesson. And if you actually do well and you succeed, my goodness, like, the world is your oyster.
Yeah.
So that's how they viewed it. And obviously it wasn't easy to say, okay, like, this is where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
They always knew that security, at least for them, security in a job was the best way to stay safe. I wanted to stay safe, but I wanted.
Yeah. And for them, that was a big step. That was a victory from, you know, sharing an ice cream cone.
Oh,
to
huge.
moving here and getting educated to become nurses and not share an ice cream cone. You know, everybody gets their own ice cream now. Yeah. So in their eyes, that's like a huge accomplishment, but you saw more. You know, that's awesome. I just wanted to share that because there's a lot of W-2 listeners. Now, did you, when you decided to retire, were you already making enough money to be able to retire, or you just went all out like, this is what I'm going to do? I'm just going in.
Yeah. So
which a lot of entrepreneurs do. I don't recommend.
I know, exactly. So I completely agree with you. I don't recommend. I know there's a lot of like gurus out there that say, you know, if you're into it, just jump in, quit your job, and you'll be set. You know, you got to fail. Yeah. No, you also want proof of concept too, especially if you're a bit risk averse as me. Yeah. Like I try to perfect things. However, I also like to take a little bit of a risk. So, I'm sorry, I got back to the question.
So, like, did you were you making enough in real estate in order to quit? Like, your new business was covering the salary that you were making, essentially.
Yes, correct. So I had we had a couple of properties that were cash flowing. Okay. And proof of concept with the wholesaling. Yeah. So for quite a few months, everything was pretty much stable. Yeah. And we also took into account what can go wrong in our long-term holds, any sort of CapEx or maintenance or things that could go wrong, appliances, roofs, or toilets, whatever it is, we accounted for it. And I still found it very safe because we were able to underwrite that perfectly. Yeah. And I decided after a certain point, you know, it's staying stable, everything is good. The cash is coming in every month. You know, what better time than now?
No, absolutely. And that was the same with me. Like 6 months down the line, I was getting deals, had deals in the pipeline. I had proof of concept. I had my team That's when I decided to leave. But I still probably would have stayed another 6 months and
Yeah.
took a couple loans on some
Yeah.
buy and holds. But you know,
Yeah.
now I can look back and say that. But it was perfect timing. I was making more than I was at my W-2. I was
Mhm.
able to provide for my family and take steps forward.
Beautiful.
So yeah, that's awesome. So why don't you tell us about the Aligned event series that you guys created and what was the motivation behind it?
Yeah. So for Align that we created, it was sort of born. We were supposed to speak at someone's event, and we did over the summer. And we were supposed to speak about real estate and about mindset. So we put a lot of prep into it because we really value our time. And
Yeah.
I've been to lots of networking events that I was very bored at. And I'm like, dude,
A lot
we
of
got to
them.
keep this right and tight, like under 15 minutes. Let's give people like
Yeah.
what matters. Like
Yeah.
no one cares about all the fluff and the this. And it's not about me and what I do and what I accomplish. Like
Yeah.
it's boring.
Mhm.
I mean, I think it's boring.
Yeah.
So
No, it is. It is boring.
it is.
A
No
lot
one
of
wants
these
to hear
networking
that.
events, yeah, like they need to spice it up, keep it short, and answer questions.
Yeah,
I
like
think that's what
let's
people
get
have.
let's get to just like potent information.
Yeah.
So we spent a lot of time making sure we were gonna give people something that was really valuable. So it was 15 minutes. We did half about buy and hold and half about mindset, personal development, self-improvement, whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
So after that, after we spoke, we're done. And I don't know if we took questions. Maybe we did.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, we did. So after we spoke, we're done. And then people continue to, network and socialize. And
Yeah.
after I had people, obviously we were separate. So like people were coming up to him and then me separately. So I didn't really hear what they were saying to him. And same for me. And I got so much unexpected. I did not expect any of this. So much amazing feedback. People asking questions like, oh my gosh, like, do you have a course? Like, what is this about?
Wow.
And I was like, oh my gosh, Sam, I'm so flattered. Thank you. Thank you. So after the event, we were both talking about it. And he was like, oh my God, people said the same thing to me. And I said, oh my gosh, they said that to me too. Like, what the fudge? Like, this is so unexpected, but in a great way. It almost
Yes.
we were like, wow, people really seem to need more than just real estate tips because we are people, like whatever we decide to do, we're the foundation of it. Like
Yeah,
we are what
absolutely.
pushes things forward.
Of course.
So how you view yourself, your confidence, self-esteem, like your beliefs, all of that ties into how you show up in the world.
Yeah.
So we said, okay, and someone asked us, so do you have your own event? Like, no, but maybe we will.
Nice.
So then we talked about it and we decided, okay, let's put on a real estate networking event that's more than just your typical, that talks about real estate and provides value, but also talks about what people don't really talk about
Mhm.
is that personal development and that inner work and your mindset, because your mind is everything.
Yeah.
You will never achieve what you don't believe, ever, no
Yeah.
matter
Mhm.
what. And if you don't believe in yourself
Mhm.
and are rooted in faith or whatever you believe in,
Mhm.
it's just not going to happen.
No, yeah.
It's not going to happen. So
that's good. That's
so that's when we created and called it Aligned, because everything, ideally, I think everyone wants to live a life aligned, right?
Yeah.
With what they believe in and their values, because what goes on the inside is reflected in the outside. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. They're not aware of these
Yeah.
beliefs that are holding themselves back, that they're operating out of. So that's where we created this real estate networking event called Align. So it's a blend of real estate and it's a blend of, learning about mindset and how to be productive and how to really kind of break through the limitations that every one of us deal with. Like I still deal with it.
course.
Everyone does, you know? No one's perfect. No one has it all figured out. And I always tell people, because it's stimulation over application, like all this stuff on the internet, it's great, but our minds aren't meant to consume so much. And we can put so much emphasis on others. Like they got it figured out and they're this on a pedestal.
Yeah.
But it's got to be yours. You got to like channel that back into yourself.
Yeah. Two things. I mean, it could be overwhelming, right? All the knowledge. Like,
Yeah.
we're not designed that way. I always tell people just focus on one thing.
Yeah.
You know, like put everything away, focus on one thing, put the blinders on, and just master that one thing. And mindset so important. Like before I got the opportunity to get into real estate, I was part of a men's group that helped me build like a strategy in my life, get my life together.
Yeah.
Because the hardest thing to do is lead yourself, right? And once you learn how to lead yourself, then you can take steps forward to build that vision that God gave you, or that vision that you guys came up together.
Yeah.
You know, and that's so important. Mindset is so important. So you're both big into fitness and being conscious of what you consume. What are some things that you take that helps you stay focused, or tips that you have?
That's funny. So Olivia sees my morning routine and she's just like, sometimes it's a little overwhelming for her to see.
It's like 50
However,
supplements.
it's not 50, but
It's like 49.
Yeah.
It's
a lot.
It's usually mostly natural stuff.
Okay.
So, from the time I wake up, there's the working out, there's red light therapy, there's meditation, like the whole gambit. Like, affirmations of the believing, some journaling, a little bit of book reading.
Yeah. At what time do you start this?
So this is at 7 a.m.
7 a.m. Okay.
Yeah. So not too early. So
yeah.
still get a good amount of sleep, and sleep is extremely important.
It
you
is.
need at least 7 to 8 hours. If you're not getting that, then you might not be operating at your peak performance.
Yeah.
I digress there. The biggest things I see was the supplementation of. So as I told you, I was a stroke program coordinator. So I worked with a lot of neurovascular surgeons, neuro doctors, and the neuro team, and I was part of that. The big thing is to take care of your mind, right? So easy supplementation if someone can't sleep, like magnesium glycinate.
Yeah.
There's even inositol, all of these things. However, it's also to keep a routine right before you sleep, 10 to 15 minutes.
No screen time.
Definitely no screen time. If you can do an hour beforehand, just, make sure you get no blue light.
Yeah.
Keep it a cool place for you to sleep in, have comfortable blankets, preferably linen. I don't want to go into it too much, but get rid of the microfiber sheets, get some linen sheets, get maybe a little bit of a white noise machine. And also, she knows this because I just woke up to this as well. Like record yourself.
Okay.
Saying affirmations of what you believe in or what you want to achieve for the next year. So I have a recorder. And I've learned this from other people like the Joe Dispenzas and the Bob Proctors.
Yeah.
These are people that believe and have seen through multiple studies, what you believe, what you can achieve.
Yeah.
I know it's corny, but if you record yourself in the present, saying the things that you don't have yet, and you listen to it, and you drop into sleep with those affirmations, that actually gets stored into your subconscious. And I'm getting very deep here. During your theta brainwave state, which is the subconscious where you can actually change your inner beliefs, not what you think right now, but the beliefs that were literally stored there from between the ages of 0 to 7 years old. Like mostly everything we learn right now or how we operate was because of what we learned from 0 to 7 years old, because that was programmed into us to understand like this is what it's going to be unless you change it yourself. Very wild there. But some of the supplements that I definitely recommend is NAD, NMN. Okay. These are basically going to keep you a little bit younger.
Okay.
It'll keep you sharp. It'll keep you going throughout the day.
Okay.
And obviously a very solid multivitamin. She sees that I take all the powders, turmeric powder, beetroot powder, maca powder, matcha. I can go off for a bit. You guys can contact me if you need a whole regimen.
You guys gotta have a lot of like cabinet.
No, he's
space.
like
my wife. I drive her crazy with just like my whey protein. They take up too much room. I can imagine if I had
the whey protein, the collagen. Yeah.
I'm like, just give me my pills. I don't care what they are. I don't need a spiel. Just like, I got it. I don't really care.
But she feels great.
Yeah. But we've been doing that lately too. The magnesium before bed. I'm big on supplements.
Huge.
I do sea moss. You guys know
amazing.
sea moss, right?
Amazing.
Yeah, daily sea moss. But also I get up once you we believe like once you change your morning, you change your day, you change your day, you change your week, change the week, change the year, and you end up really winning at the end, So that's good. What are your tips?
Oh, one of my tips, I'm into health and wellness, but not like this. Like I just like hand me my pills and supplements and I'm going to move on with my day.
Yeah.
So I'm into that. He gives me all that stuff. And then for me, something I've recently been doing, I'd say like the past 6 months or so. It started when we were on vacation in Turks. We were in Turks over the summer, and we went to their local gym, and my headphones just weren't working. I was like, oh, whatever. Okay. Like, kind of annoying to, like, work out to silence.
Yeah.
But I said, no. This is more like, for me, wellness. I'm, like, talking about myself and what I do to, like, really mentally get myself in a good space. I said, I don't need headphones. I don't need music. Because sometimes I listen to podcast music. I said, I want to talk to myself.
Wow.
And I'm going to F shit up. Like, let me see how far I can go. So I, like, do a set what I could normally do.
Mm-hmm.
And then in my head, I'm not talking out loud because I don't want to freak
Yeah, I'm about to say,
people
are you
out.
just walking around like,
just like
arguing
talking
with
to
yourself?
I don't want people to think I'm like,
Yeah.
on a leash. But in my head, I'm like, okay, like you can do this. And I remember I did these like, I don't know what the thing is that you like hold yourself up and you kick your legs up.
Yeah,
For your lower abs.
Yeah,
For your lower
yeah.
abs. I could do like 4. I was like, oh, that's really hard. And I said, no, 14. And I did 14.
Wow.
And next time I said, no, 20. And I did 20. I said, no, 22. Like I did 3 sets.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy crap. Like, look at me. So everything I normally do in my sets, I exceeded because I declared in my head, said, no, like you can do this. You're strong. You're capable. Like you have what it takes. I would just talk to myself.
Yeah.
Now at the gym, I only talk to myself in my head. I put headphones in so people think I'm listening to music sometimes because I don't want people to talk to me.
No, of course.
But I just like pushed my limits just by my own self-talk. And I was like, good for, like, I'm proud of myself. I was like, good for me. Like the podcast, the music, like it's fun to do, but it's mindless. Like how much can I really push myself? Yeah. So I work out in the mornings and that's always something that I'm doing that, sets my whole day, my whole like tone and energy for the rest of the day because whatever I think is hard, like I decide what I think is hard.
Yeah.
And when I have problems all the time, problems in business all the time.
Yeah.
Like it's not a problem. Like I handle it and I move on. I live in the solution, not the problem, move on to the next. Constantly move on to the next and don't, I don't get sucked into like, oh, this fell through and there's no EMD and no. Yeah. You keep going.
Keep going. Yeah.
So,
on to the next.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people, if they forget their headphones, they're leaving. They're not even going into the gym.
Yeah.
They even have vending machines with the headphones to purchase.
No, but that's good. No excuses. Step up, push yourself. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what's the best advice you could give someone wanting to improve their lives and start in the investing journey?
I would say I love application over stimulation. I love that saying because that applies to everything. Yeah. Right? So you want to learn. There's a crazy amount of abundant information, podcasts, YouTube, Instagram. I mean, so much free stuff, books. I mean, I can go on and on. Everyone knows where they can consume content. Yeah. But it's so easy to get stuck in that loop. Like you consume and you think you achieved something and you think you did something, but you really didn't. Like at the end of every single day, if you have to learn about investing and you learn all these free things and go to networking events and blah, 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 there's thousands of different ways you can get into real estate and how you can invest. And you really have to just figure them out, figure out what feels good for you. What works for you might not work for you or what works for me, right? Yeah. You have to not give so much autonomy to other people and to really say to yourself, like, how can I apply this to my life and to myself and not get lost in the sauce with over consuming all the information. Yeah. And that's what I would say about how to learn to get into investing. Just hone in on one thing and have laser focus after you try or learn about all these different things. Yeah. And what was the other part of the question? I zoned out.
No, to start investing.
Just to start investing,
advice
how to
would you
get
give
into
someone
it?
wanting to improve their
Yeah,
lives
I mean,
and to start into investing?
There's so much free stuff. Figure out what free stuff works for you. Yeah. And don't give too much, don't give too much to other people who have done it. Yeah. That they can do it. Like the bridge between who you are and who you want to be is not as big as you think. Yeah. And
it's good.
Everything we consume and learn is ultimately to bridge that gap, right? Is to be where we want to be. And I would also say it's never about the destination ever. This whole thing is like a journey in life. Like it's just the experience of life. Yeah. So it's not like you get to own these rentals and then your ass is on a beach. Like it can be if you want. Yeah. And I've done it. Yeah. Funny thing, he asked me what was the best part of 2023? We went to Turks for a month. I love Turks. That was pretty bomb. Favorite place. Yeah, beautiful. I love Turks. Yeah. And that wasn't my favorite part. When he asked me, I said my favorite part was I was so proud of myself that he actually got asked to speak at the event and asked me. And I was like, no, I'm not speaking. Leave me alone. I'm not doing it. No. He's like, no, you're doing it. And I did. And I was so proud of myself. Okay, I did it. I stepped out of my comfort zone. I didn't want to do it. I kicked the whole way through until I committed and was like, okay, I want to give people something really great. And that's what I was most proud of. So you hear people say life isn't margaritas on a beach. Yeah. And I could attest it's amazing, but the growth doesn't happen there. Yeah. Right? Those are those amazing wins, rest and recharge. And that's really important. Yeah. But you can't avoid pain and grow. You just simply can't. You can't succeed unless you fail. They're two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid. Like, I failed so much, like beyond. I could talk about failing this whole podcast and make you feel so good about yourself listening to this, right? I could make you feel like you're $1 million, but it's like, you got to pick yourself up. You got to fail, and you can't be afraid. Like, fear drives so many people. You cannot be afraid. You have to go for it.
Yeah.
And I do want to touch on something there. All of that is set with the beliefs you have in yourself, the limiting beliefs. I'm not sure if you ever heard of the flea experiment in the glass mason jar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where it could go as high as with the
lid.
Yeah.
And then
So
take the lid off.
for those who don't know, the flea experiment, they put a whole bunch of fleas in a jar, and they just left the fleas there. The fleas were jumping out of the jar. This jar was uncovered. They were jumping all out the jar. And what they did for the same fleas, they put the fleas back in there. Same jar, but they covered it.
Yeah.
The fleas were jumping, hitting themselves in the head at the top of the jar. The moral is they took the lid off, and the fleas were only jumping as high as where the lid was, because that was their belief. And if they didn't fix their belief, that's what they would believe the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
For us, we want to be the fleas that have hit our heads on the actual cover. But now we also still want to jump out and understand there's more to it. There's more world than just your limiting beliefs, and to break through that. So.
Yeah, that's so good right there, guys. So looking ahead, what are the plans and goals for you guys in the future?
I would say for real estate, it's definitely to get, because we have a portfolio of multi and single families. So I say the goal is to get into bigger multifamily deals, to be raising money to get into those type of deals. So 20, 30 units, 40 units. I mean, a mobile home park would be like Christmas morning for me.
I mean, you guys are in PA. They're all over the place.
I know.
Yeah.
I had a couple leads. I just didn't know what to do with them at the time. This was years ago.
Yeah.
And now I hear people buying mobile homes. I'm like,
yeah,
I had those
incredible.
leads.
So incredible. So for real estate, doing what we're doing with wholesaling and buying, but definitely getting into bigger multifamily deals for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you guys have your first, 30 unit, got to bring you back on so you can talk about the process.
We'd be happy to.
Yeah,
We'd be happy to.
So why don't you let the listeners know where they can find you, your Instagrams, social media, everything else?
Yeah, you can actually DM us. My handle for Instagram is at the.realestate.healthpreneur. DM me or send me a text message, 646-750-1683.
Wow, it's bold. Give out your number.
Yeah, you can text me, call me, whatever you want.
Yeah,
and we also
cool.
have a website.
Yeah, so we have a website called armandandolivia.com. That's just explaining about online, the real estate networking event that we put on. We send out weekly, I might call it a newsletter. So if you subscribe, it's a blend of real estate tips and mindset tips. So that goes out once a week.
Nice.
And then our event schedule is on our website. And I'm getting into Instagram. So I think it's Olivia Lynn _C. I'm not even sure. You could find me on his, but I'm getting into like posting and getting more comfortable with Instagram because I only do things that I feel like that I connect with. I don't I don't feed into what I should do or what you're supposed to do. So I'm not as active, but like I'm on. I'm hanging out.
That's good. Yeah. Whatever works, right? But we're going to put all the show notes in the episode so you guys could click on their websites below. But guys, thank you so much for being here. So much value that you guys shared. I wish you guys the best. I'm super happy and proud of you guys. And thank you for coming. Till next time, guys.
Thank you for having us.
See ya.
Bye.